Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to your Sunday night Nintendo Enthusiast Class vs. Crass. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Lupin. Joining me, right to my side and very close to me, Niero, the founder of Destructoid, joining us tonight.
How's it going, everybody? All right, good things thrown at each. What? Okay,
we've even got some fangirls in the back. And joining us as usual, we've got the man down south, Sean Long, also known as RGT85.
Greetings and salutations.
What you drinking there, sir?
An ice cold Diet Dr. Pepper, of course.
We're trying some new concoctions. So Niero is visiting us in Canada land from the land of the US of A. So we're giving him all sorts of delicious Canadian things, such as...
So tonight I'm trying Crispy Crunch by the Cadbury Company. Crispy Crunch.
Not sponsoring this podcast.
It's not going into the also Canadian. What am I drinking?
That is I don't usually offer that, but that's a mix of root beer and vodka because Niero doesn't like gin and tonic.
I can't stand gin. Not a gin man.
That didn't go in the script.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's too medicinal. It's too weird. It's like eating a flower.
Unforgiven in our audience is Canadian. He's asking poutine.
Poutine, yes, all the poutine.
So you've had the poutine.
I had the fancy duck poutine. Is that what I had?
That was so high-end poutine, it wasn't even a poutine anymore.
But the proper poutine we got at the beer place.
That's
good stuff. Yeah, we need that in the US of A. We need to borrow that.
So Niero had the high-end poutine made with like duck fat, duck meat, duck everything, and then we had the proper poutine, which is just your fries.
Good.
Yeah, most people don't like it. It's always the one that nobody wants to eat.
I have low standards, so.
Sean has yet to try a poutine. Correct?
I tried some of your Kinder eggs, which
don't talk about that.
That sounds personal.
I mean,
it's a highly
I've never
illegal
had
substance
Kinder
in the
eggs
US.
from Canada that are like more illegal than heroin or some shit.
We don't talk about that. Oh, the Coffee Crisp, though. That's a chocolate bar here in Canada that you need to taste. Sean has tried it.
I will seek that out.
Yeah. Do you recall your Coffee Crisp?
Yeah, that was good.
So for anyone who is joining us for the first time, this is a very strange episode to join us because we do have a special guest. We're a little wonky.
Very close.
Also very close. There is this bro gap that we're going to keep as best as we can. But we have a 1-hour show for you guys. Sometimes we go a little bit over when we have a guest. Tonight, usually we talk about what we've been playing. So Sean, myself, Niero, we're going to be talking about what we've been playing in the Nintendo world for the past week or so. Then we're going to get into our feature headline, which tonight we're going to be talking about Mario Odyssey, Zelda Breath of the Wild, both contenders for best game of the year in the gaming industry, but also just hands down in the Nintendo community. Those are the two best games we've had this year. So we're going to argue which ones we think the pros and cons of each one's being game of the year. I have my choices. I think Sean's choices are different. Niero has his picks.
Cuphead.
No.
Okay.
Wrong podcast.
Okay.
So then we're also maybe going to get a little bit of a background on Destructoid if you want to share a little bit of the legacy of that wonderful website.
We did that thing once.
Yeah, cool. And then we do the lightning round. That's where we take your user topic and questions for either Niero, myself, or Sean. I'm a little out of it. There's a lot of distractions here. So let's get started. Sean, what have you been playing?
Mario.
How you like it?
Oh, and it's all right. You know,
just all right.
I mean, I figure we're gonna have a whole segment on this. I don't want to talk too much, right? Or do you want to talk now, or what do you want to do? I don't care.
I mean, we're gonna have a whole segment, so let's keep the Mario talk low for now.
All right. So I've actually been playing 2 other games. I'm playing This Is the Police, which I wanted to review this weekend, but it's not going to happen, so it'll probably be early part of the upcoming week. And I played the Sonic Forces demo, the Japanese-only demo.
Are you only playing that because it has Knights, the Knights DLC?
That's not the reason I'm playing it. That's the reason I'm buying it. There's a difference.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was the reason I bought it, was because they have the Knights character skin.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, it's not like everyone's, saying that it's garbage or whatever. It's not that bad. Like, I don't think it's not a great game. It's not going to be a game that, will compete with. Here's the problem with Sonic fans. Sonic fans are are very strange. Like, it seems like there's two camps of Sonic fans, where every Sonic game that comes out is amazing and people just don't understand it, or every Sonic game is a disappointment because they have their expectations so high. And it's like, to me, like, Sonic Adventure was awesome when it came out, but obviously it hasn't aged, all that great. Compared to a 3D Mario game. You could look at Super Mario 64 and still play that game today with, no issues. Like, it's still a fantastic game. Whereas Sonic Adventure, feels dated at times. And I think a lot of Sonic fans just have this mentality where they expect, the next Sonic game, the next 3D Sonic game or whatever, to be just, this amazing game, and then they're always disappointed, or they think it is this amazing game and it's really not. Like, Sonic Forces is not going to be a great game. It's not going to be a 9 or a 10. It has but from what I played, which albeit was very brief because the demo was only 60 seconds, I think it's a solid game. I think it could range anywhere from, an average score of like a 5 to 6 to a good score to, a high 7. Like, I think it has potential. I think it's going to be fun. It's just, it's a $40 game for a reason. Like, when games come out for $40, there's a reason for that. There's a reason why a game isn't full priced. And the reason is because it's not going to be, a AAA experience. It's still going to be good. It's still going to be fun. I think there's some good things about the game, but people just need to get their expectations in line, really.
Mm-hmm. Do you still play, have you ever been a fan of Sonic, Niero?
Not a fan.
Never?
No.
So you were a Mario kid.
Yeah, I mean, Genesis does and all that, but I was never into it.
No.
I went towards everything else. I had like Mystic Defender, and I mean, I had a pretty big Genesis library, but I don't know. Never into Sonic.
You saved yourself a lot of pain. Like, Sean and I we were both Sonic kids that eventually grew out of it because of the Nintendo just having better IPs.
Okay.
So it's been a rough ride for me, it's been a rough ride seeing the mascot that I used to love so much just get dragged through the dirt. And
yeah, it's just weird seeing Sonic over the years. Like, they pitched him as this like kind of like dickish, like a teenager. He was like the antithesis of Mario. But I don't know. I don't think it ever clicked with me. It was like all attitude, and like the gameplay was just, I don't know. It just never felt as tight as the Mario games.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of like sloppy and fast, and I don't know.
Yeah, I only realized that later. So what have you been playing on your Nintendo Switch?
Oh, the Cuphead. So
have you beaten Cuphead?
So I haven't finished the last two. I have to capture some souls. I've been traveling a lot, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
I think it's going to come to Switch. I'm praying.
Why do you think so?
Because it's a Microsoft exclusive, and they'll never let it go to any other console.
You said you think it will come to Switch?
I'm fucking with you.
Oh, man, don't do that.
Fucking with your feelings. Okay. No, it'll never come to Switch.
And there goes our monetization options for this stream.
Yeah, no, Microsoft basically bankrolled it. Sorry, wrong podcast. On the Switch, I've been playing a lot of Mario. And I keep coming back to Zelda just because there's just a billion things to do. And every time I get on Twitter, someone's discovered something. Have you seen the gravitational boomerang thing?
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Did you see that, Sean?
What's that?
The Breath of the Wild boomerang using the gravity thing. The
magnet. So yeah, magnet with the. So you throw the boomerang, you do the magnet, it becomes this like chopping infinite blade of death. It's incredible. You've got to see it. So
you basically have this thing like you're holding a magnet and the boomerang's flipping wherever you want. You just aim it to where you want to go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. Been playing. So I keep coming back to snipper clips. My family really loves it, and the sequel was recently announced. There's going to be DLC next month. Looking forward to that. I keep coming back to Overcooked.
Oh yeah, we gotta play that tonight.
Yeah,
I haven't tried it yet.
It's a great party game. People get profane and emotional. And yeah, I've been trying to spend a lot of time with Odyssey. I haven't finished it yet, but we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. So we are going to keep it spoiler free for those of you who haven't beaten the game because there's so much that happens in the game. So we're going to kind of limit ourselves to talking about pretty much everything that was in the trailers. I think everybody knows about New Donk City, so let's kind of not cover anywhere beyond. I don't think you've played beyond. I don't think you've even reached New Donk in your playthrough.
I found that one secret entrance to it, and then I pieced out.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. So yeah, we won't get into too much of the details, but great game. Let's get right into it. Game of the year. From your experience, have you beaten Breath of the Wild?
I mean, I finished the last boss fight, but then I keep coming back to. I didn't do like I skipped a bunch of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Just because there's so much to do.
Yeah.
So let's start with you, Sean. Breath of the Wild or Mario? Like, where's your stance without really explaining it?
Mario.
Okay, so we got a Mario Game of the Year camp because I'm hands down Breath of the Wild.
No.
And where do you sit so far?
For me personally, I think I'm gonna enjoy Mario for many years to come, and I think I'm going to burn out with Breath of the Wild at a certain point. So for Game of the Year, I don't know. I want to spend time with both. So it's just my personal opinion.
Of course.
As Destructoid, we gave very, very high scores to both games. I think my reviews editor might say Breath of the Wild. I want to just make it clear I'm not speaking for the site. This is just, I'm the publisher. I'm the person that gets the least time with the games because we're working with the whole team. But so far, I think I'm feeling Mario. So you're on your own here.
Damn. Yeah. So it's going to be two.
Although there's a lot of things I don't like about Mario.
Oh, very interesting. So Sean, let's hear your case. Why do you think Mario would deserve Game of the Year over Breath of the Wild?
Because it's a better game. It's a better crafted game in my opinion. Breath of the Wild is amazing, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't really have anything super negative to say about Breath of the Wild except for maybe it's a bit too barren at times. But like if you compare a segment, like if you pretend that Odyssey, pretend that all of the worlds are together and it's just this one giant world. You know what I'm saying? All the kingdoms are together. There's so much more to do in a kingdom than there is in a certain area of, the most barren kingdom in Super Mario Odyssey is still more lively than the average area in Breath of the Wild. And like, I feel like there's more secrets, things like Korok seeds. Like a lot of those Korok seed things to find all, like, yes, there's a lot of them. So it turns it into a collectathon that you want to keep doing. But a lot of them, they're just like random, they're like, there's no real thought put into where they are. It's just sort of random. Whereas in Mario, all of the moons, there's thought put into it. There's nothing just completely random. Like there's a puzzle, there's something you have to do, there's something you have to see. I think that sort of sets it apart. And, it's no game is perfect, but like Mario is it's just incredible.
Yeah. So, I mean, good points. None of these games are bad. So we're not really hitting on what they're doing bad. It's really which one is just doing that much better. And I agree with you on all points there regarding Mario. Why I think Breath of the Wild is a better game, a better contender for Game of the Year over Mario is essentially more of the same. There's a lot to do. I agree. I don't even consider Korok seeds as that interesting in Breath of the Wild because there's very little incentive to do it, and it's not that interesting, as you said. But Breath of the Wild was such a vast experience. And I mean, they are hard to compare because they are such different games. Like Mario has way more mass appeal. But that experience that I had with Breath of the Wild, going into the game, saying like, what is over there? And discovering things and having my mind blown over and over and over, like that hasn't really happened since I've been gaming my whole life. And like it took 30 years for a game like that to happen. And with Mario, it'll be what's over here, and it's going to be, oh, that's cool, or that's cool. And, it is more the same of like Galaxy 64 with even more polish, with even more of what we love, but it's not a game, like it's not a game changer like the way Breath of the Wild was. You can't say Breath of the Wild was more of the same. Zelda, and it tackles open world games in a way that I haven't really experienced.
But
any other
you
way.
Can't, I mean, have you ever played an Elder Scrolls?
No, but we're talking about, let's say, Nintendo Game of the Year. So we're only
No,
talking
I'm just
about
asking.
Nintendo
I'm
West.
asking in general. Have
No,
you ever
no,
played
I
an
haven't.
Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, or Skyrim, or
No,
anything?
playing that next month.
Okay, well, see that's where your plan sort of your theory sort of falls, in my opinion, because a game like Skyrim, it might not have that Zelda, aesthetic and lore and whatnot, but when you play a game like Skyrim, that's just this open world, game, like if you were impressed, in my opinion, if you're impressed by saying, oh, what's over here, and then going over here and being blown away. 9 times out of 10, like there wasn't anything really substantial. It's not like there's a village or a town or a quest, maybe a quest. But it's very open and it's very barren, and it plays well into the game. But like a game like Skyrim, you do the same thing, and you're coming across like towns and people and activities and like all sorts of crazy shit. So I think if you have played a game like Skyrim and then you've played Breath of the Wild, you can appreciate how Breath of the Wild has transformed the Zelda series and how it's made it into a more open thing with a great game. But I don't necessarily think it's the best open world game ever. Like it's still, there are periods of time where you just, I mean, you know it as a fact, you just run and there's like nothing. And like,
Right.
Something may happen. There may be, one of the ninjas that pops up that helps.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Jeez.
Helps make it for more, more populated or whatever. But it's Breath of the Wild is based on atmosphere, in my opinion. This crumbling civilization, this crumbling world that has had this catastrophic event, and that's what makes it cool. But Mario is just like the polar opposite of it almost, because it's such just breathing with life and taming with life and secrets and things to do, and all the things to collect are fun, and there's secrets, and then there's more secrets, and then you think you found all the secrets, and then you find more secrets, and it's just crazy. And New Donk City is the best level in a Mario game ever, period. End of discussion. Do not come at me with no sideways shit.
There's no discussion to be had.
There's no discussion.
No,
Like, Jesus Christ. That is a masterpiece of a level. A masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece.
Yeah. So what's your argument, Niero, for why do you support Mario as the better contender for Game of the Year out of the 2 Nintendo games?
I think just like minute to minute, if I think about the expression on my face while I'm playing Mario versus when I'm playing Zelda, I feel like I'm working on some sort of like math puzzle when I'm playing Zelda, where I'm just trying to basically just kind of fuck with the game.
Mm-hmm.
I love that I have all these tools, and the game is what I make it. There's no. I just like that they went through the trouble of having like, what is it, like 100 people debugging whether or not like you can like roll a tree for 100 miles and that's still okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think when I'm in Mario, I get frustrated because I'm like, oh well, I remember something in this kingdom, and if I can ride this bullet bill 100 miles, then that would be really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't let you do that, and I get super frustrated because I want it to be Breath of the Wild while I'm playing Mario, and I want things that I really appreciate about Mario to be in Zelda. So that's where I'm like kind of struggling.
So like to grab a bullet bill from the desert and then write it into like New Donk City, and then mess around in there, like that would be.
Yeah, little things like that. Like
that would be amazing.
Mario feels very rigid in that sense, but there's so many just like, I'm like trying not to divulge any spoilers. So I'm like pumping the brakes on what I really want to say.
You're really not far in the game, though. I don't think you could have much spoilers.
Well, I mean, like the kind of characters that you meet, the type of possessions that you have, and I spent the greater part of the day just trying to get extra things in the desert today.
Mm-hmm.
And just the kinds of things that you run across, and you think you're done with an area, and you have no idea that there's all this other stuff. Like you go back to where you had a boss fight, and then there's just all this other extra stuff. It's just great. But
and plus, when you beat the game, more stuff happens in those worlds. So there's
stuff.
tons of incentive to go back. Like literally, there's tons of incentive to go back. There's tons of things that happen and change. So keep that in mind as well.
That said, it's finite, right? Like they're perfect little sandboxes, and they, after you get all the, after you collect 100 moons or whatever in an area, there's nothing else to do. I mean, you can go back to your favorite parts, but you can't play them. You can't continue to bend and break the rules. Where that's what I think that's special about Zelda, and that's why I think I'm gonna keep going back to Zelda. I think I'm gonna max out on my least favorite parts of Mario and never want to play those levels again. Whereas I might just continue to wander the country aimlessly in Zelda for years to come. If I had to recommend a game to somebody tomorrow, I would give them Mario because I think it's the game that translates easier to the average person. I think it has the wider mass appeal. I think Zelda's going to be hit or miss with a couple of people, and we're actually talking about that. Maybe younger gamers who don't have earlier reference points of Zelda may not appreciate it as much, would you say?
So on the point of nostalgia, I find Mario is a little bit more, tugs at the nostalgia strings a lot more than Zelda.
Sure.
Because in Zelda, there's nothing where you really, like Zelda, if you want to go with the nostalgia, you play Hyrule Warriors. Play Hyrule Warriors and you're just getting hit like, oh, remember this, remember this, remember this. You're like, oh my god, I loved all that. But with Breath of the Wild, everything really kind of, the king, you see the king, you have no reference for the king and all the other stuff. Ganon is completely different in every way. Link has no connection to anyone else. The only reference I would say in the Breath of the Wild for the Zeldas is like the landmarks, which you kind of go, oh, is that from that game? But it's, it doesn't really invoke any emotion. And you haven't reached it.
I don't.
Can we even talk about this? But Mario has a lot more things that it references in its legacy, and you're like, okay, this isn't a spoiler, but just when you went into the wall for the first time in Mario Odyssey, and you got into a retro like 2D platformer zone, like your heart melted, and you're like, like this is awesome. I think we all went, this is awesome, right? That's tugging at the nostalgia strings.
And it's moments like that that I think are going to blow people's mind. Whereas to get an experience like that in Zelda, you have to work at it. They make you put in the hours,
Mm-hmm.
Here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does Zelda have a dinosaur that you can possess?
No, but it has a mountain beast that you stumble
across. Does it have a dinosaur?
Okay, just because you're a Jurassic Park fan, like this just changes your whole opinion. You're biased.
So I'm a Mario purist, I would say, and one of the parts that I least enjoyed about Mario Odyssey was the damn dinosaur. It looked like a placeholder from a game that's still in development. It was just so off-brand for me. I'm like, I love that I can control this, but this does not need to be in the final game. Like one of my favorite Mario games of all time is Super Mario World. And all of the original characters that they introduced, they're all so cohesive. Whereas you come into Mario Odyssey, there's the character model, cartoon, whatever, Mario. You have this kind of half cartoon with the mayor, and then you have these humanoids. I'm like, what is this? Like, and I get it, it's the worlds, and good for Nintendo for trying something new, but it doesn't have
an overarching like.
It doesn't feel as cohesive as Zelda. Zelda is a realized, like, it is a world that is that reality, that everything looks like it should be there. Like, there's some parts of Mario Odyssey that are so cut and paste looking. It's like,
It clashes for you.
I wouldn't have given it a 9.5. I think there's a lot of room for improvement there.
So that's a good segue to talk about scores, because all the scores came out last week. Lots of 10s out of 10s. I think Nintendo Enthusiasts gave it a 10 out of 10. Destructoid gave it a 9.5. Not Niero, but the site.
Can we talk about the shitty controller mapping?
Yeah, I haven't even noticed anything bad.
Okay, I want to hold down Y to run. I've been doing that for 25 years. I want to hold Y to run. Why can't I do that? Shooting Cappy should be mappable to the R trigger. Why not? It's a shot. We shoot things with the R trigger. Like, why isn't that an option? That would significantly improve the game. And sorry to jump back to Cuphead. Cuphead had the same shitty setup mechanic, and I think that game would have been scored a lot lower. Not that Mario Odyssey needs higher scores, but Cuphead's default control scheme was retarded. I feel like Mario Odyssey could have mapped the buttons a little better.
Or just given that option.
Yeah.
For custom mapping.
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't like that. Sean, are you playing Mario Odyssey right now?
No, I was looking at some mail that was here that I forgot I needed to look at.
So we were talking about segueing kind of into the score because, well, Niero was saying you wouldn't have given it a 9.5, you were saying. You'd give it less? Like 9?
I think it would have been around the 9, 8, 5-ish, 9.
8, 9? Okay, okay.
Which is still an incredible score.
Right. So, Sean, what were your thoughts on the score? But you're
I mean, no game is perfect, so you know, it's all subjective. Do I think it's deserving of a 10? Yes. Do I think it's deserving of a 9.5? Yes. Like, you know, I could see it's really when you're giving a game, you know, a 9 to 10, you're having to factor in negative aspects and seeing if it's just you, or would it be a mass thing, or is it just a preference for you? And I guess at the end of the day, most people felt that anything negative from the game just boils down to more so them than the mass appeal. And, you know.
Do you think, the question I put out on Twitter earlier is, do you think if there was no Mario theming here, if this was a generic game with a new IP, do you think, and this doesn't come down necessarily to bashing Mario as a game, it's more so a point that I think that the 10 out of 10 scores that our industry puts out is based more on the evolution of a series more so than the mechanics of the game on its own. So like even Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey scoring so many 10s, I think is because of its legacy and reviewers being able to compare how the franchise has evolved. Whereas if these games would have come out as new IPs, wouldn't have necessarily have scored that high. Do you agree with that?
I mean, maybe that's so hard to say.
It's your point of view. It's not a.
I think that point of view is stupid because you can't say subjectively one way or the other. You know, like what are you basing that on? Like,
because,
oh, this is
okay. Here's what I'm basing it on. I saw the 10s out of 10s come out of Mario Odyssey. I picked it up. I started playing it Friday night, pretty late. I was tired, and as I was going through the motions, you know, Mario Odyssey feels very familiar. It's a familiar control scheme, familiar characters, and I was enjoying it, but I wasn't connecting, like, it wasn't hitting me like the way that, say, 64 or Odyssey, or, sorry, Galaxy was hitting me. But I'm also, like, older and more boring now, which might be that, like, I've kind of lost that kid magic. So Mario Odyssey, I was kind of going through the moon, and it's like, oh, you got a moon, you got a moon. Like, literally every 30 seconds to a minute, I had that little, like, fanfare of, you got a moon, and, like, it was so frequent that I'm like, oh, like, I remember, like, Mario 64, like, you jump in a painting, you get your little hint of what you had to do, and then you'd have to figure it out, and then when you got your star, you got that da-na-na-na-da-da-da, and yahoo, and, like, it felt like an accomplishment, whereas, like, now I'm like, whoa, they're just handing these moons out.
It's almost like there's hundreds of, you know,
that said,
moves versus the 120 stars.
That said, let me finish my point. That said, when I hit the end of the game and the game opened up and gave me a lot more and gave me, like, really played to my nostalgia with a lot of stuff they added, I fell in love with the game and I love the game that much more. And that's why I was thinking, like, if this wasn't Mario, would I be loving the game as much? And I probably wouldn't. And that's where I'm coming from.
That's bullshit. Because because okay, strip away Mario, strip away Zelda. Is Breath of the Wild, would Breath of the Wild be a great open world game versus would Odyssey starring whoever be a great 3D platformer? Mario is a better 3D platform than Zelda is an open world game. Period.
That, I think, is a fair statement.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's a better game.
You know, I kind of wonder if I would have appreciated Odyssey more if it came before Galaxy 1 and 2. Because I feel like as I'm working through Odyssey, I get pulled into these rooms that look like they were kind of pitched for Galaxy 2, and then they were kind of set off to the side, and then you're suddenly playing Galaxy 2.5 for like a minute.
You kind of had that in Mario Sunshine, where you had these thematic worlds, and then you would like jump into these. I didn't play Sunshine that much, but you go into these areas where it was more like Mario 3D World, where it's just platforms and like no themes. It's all platforming. So I feel like that's a theme of Mario, that you always have these thematic worlds, these thematic levels, and then you have these sections which just test your pure platforming skills.
I think, see, my thing is Breath of the Wild was a huge departure for the series, and you know the lore of the series and the history of the series, as far as nodding your hat to it. Whereas Odyssey is more of the accumulation of Mario as a character, like the end battle in New Donk City, like that's the grassroots of where Mario started. And then as you play throughout the game, you know, there's levels, you know, there's secret things that clearly tap into the NES. You can use a SNES theme. There's N64 references, you know, the places that feel sort of like Galaxy, maybe those are intended to be Galaxy references. The one boss battle where you use water, like if you think about it, that mechanic is pretty much like how Flood was. You just obviously aren't Mario with the thing strapped to your back. So it's more of like a accumulation, celebration, and advancement of the series. Whereas Zelda was just, you know, hey, let's start fresh. So, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, we're not arguing to convince each other. I just wanted to hear everybody's thoughts. Clearly, these are personal choices. And it doesn't really matter which one you prefer. It's not a popularity contest.
Team Dinosaur.
But so I say Breath of the Wild. Niero says Mario, but dinosaurs suck. Sean says he loves everything Mario.
Team Dinosaur.
All right. Let's go over the news real quick from last week. Any news items that we should cover, Sean? I didn't really get the chance to.
Rhyme got delayed physically 3 days. Now it comes out the same day as Skyrim. Canada, the Nintendo Switch is the best-selling system of 2017.
We got GameCube. The GameCube controller is now supported on Switch.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't get why they were like, oh, this was a surprise. It's like, what? I don't think it was. Like, how the fuck would you not know that?
Maybe if nobody noticed it, they would have done it in a Nintendo Direct. Like, Smash is coming, and your GameCube is compatible now.
So many people want Smash, and I'm just like, wait, motherfucker. Like,
if Smash came to the Switch, would you play it right now? Would you buy it?
No. I haven't bought Rabbids. I haven't bought Fire Emblem. Like, I want those games. I don't have money / time.
Would you want to play Smash Switch?
I like Smash to pick up and play.
Yeah.
But I'm not competitive with it. I don't like it in that sort of aspect. It's fun to, you know, see what characters and trophies there are to unlock, and, you know, see the nods to previous franchises and whatnot. Like, that's always fun and exciting. But as far as like the esports aspect of it, I get pissed off. Like, I don't care about it. It means nothing to me.
Yeah, same.
It's
just, I don't know. It's too spammy. I'm more of a Street Fighter. Yeah.
Bingo. Like, Street Fighter to me, like a more, you know, cohesive.
Who's your Street Fighter character?
Oh, so old school, I used to play with Blanca.
Blanca spammer.
Recently, yeah, a highly unbalanced character. No, I just rotate. I'm not pro or anything, but I play with everybody.
Sean's a big Street Fighter guy.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
All right. When you're in town, dude, let's do it.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's pretty much it for the news. What was I gonna say? Losing my trail of thought. What?
Shit, Newsweek.
I don't know.
Eric's making very good things on Twitter right now.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Eric, you're so fired.
Yeah. Payday 2 still coming to the Switch this winter. They showed some handheld footage of the game.
Smash is what I was thinking about. I was
I'm
late.
very. Huh?
Can I just want to say my Smash thing. I was like
Oh.
really late to the party to get on the Wii U because I didn't care for it. And this is someone who played a lot of Melee and Brawl. And then I don't know. It's the same formula. Like I'm over it. That's it. I wouldn't buy it on the Switch. There, said it.
You could probably get it a review copy, maybe.
No,
I don't know.
I'd give it away. I wouldn't play it. So.
As I was saying, Payday 2 still on track for a winter release. I am a huge Payday fan. I love the original. It's one of my most played games on the PS3.
Sean,
I never played Payday 2 for whatever reason. So I'm actually still looking forward to this game, and I might be the only person online playing it, but I don't really give a shit. Well, I mean, I will because it's an online based game, but I'm excited. I'm happy that that's still coming.
Cool. Can we get to our guest spotlight now?
Yeah, that's fine. You said, hey, what's going on with the news? Let's go over the news. And then I go over the news. And
well, the news was shit, okay? I was hoping for more.
It wasn't bad. Cliffy B.
Why are you showing some leg, man? Why are you trying to show some skin
Cliffy B
here?
talked about lawbreakers.
Why do people talk about lawbreakers? There seems to be a whole story around lawbreakers. And
Well, I mean, he invested a lot of his own money into it, and it was not good.
it wasn't a good game? I thought it was a good game. I thought it was...
No, I mean, just that it just didn't take.
Oh, right.
There's there's like 10 people playing it right now.
I saw that, yeah.
That's not good.
Like, literally.
No, I feel terrible for the guy. So.
It's unfortunate. Bring it to the Switch.
That's one of the things is they might. There's a small chance.
That does suck to hear, though. There's a lot of those horror stories. Like some developers, they put in so much, which segues us into your life story. You put quite a bit on the line yourself.
Sold my house, sold my car.
To get Destructoid where it is today.
Yeah, man. Everything.
So a little bit of background on Niero for those who joined us a bit late. The founder of Destructoid here with us. So Destructoid is now coming up on its 12th anniversary.
12 years.
12 years. Sure. So you came up with this idea.
Yes,
12 years ago.
So
I don't know if people can hear you well.
Origin story of Destructoid. It was my birthday. I had a couple of people over. We were playing Shadow of the Colossus, and a buddy of mine says, "Hey, I've got some time off. Why don't we go to E3 in LA? You know, get some vacation time. Let's go. It's the PS3 release year. It's going to be the first time the Wii will be playable. We got to go. We're fanatics. We need to be there." So I said, "Yeah, this is a great idea. Let's do it. I've always wanted to go to a gaming convention. I used to live in Miami, where there was nothing."
What were you doing at this time? Were you involved in games?
No, I was a web developer.
Okay.
I was doing web graphics for airlines and hotels. It's very, very not satisfying work. So I thought it was like Comic-Con where you can just get tickets and go. So I filled out the form and they said, "Well, you're not part of the gaming media. You're not part of the press, so you can't come."
Not one of the elites.
And then I'm looking online, and there's all these like children and bloggers all over the convention. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I did my research, and if you had a gaming blog that had any kind of notoriety, you're able to go to E3. So being a web designer, I was like, how hard can that be? I've been running video game clubs all my life, and I just went at it. Like I installed WordPress. I would get up like 2 or 3 hours before work. I would schedule a bunch of stories. I would go to work. At lunch, I would turn the monitor away from the door. I'd log my heart out. I got a BlackBerry so I can respond to comments while I'm stuck in traffic. And I would come home.
And you were running this solo?
Yes.
Wow.
It was Destructoid was my personal blog. It wasn't anything. It was just me yelling at the internet, just every day, 8 stories minimum. And just trying to figure out how to grow my blog so that I can impress these press people so they would give me a pass and I could go to my damn dream vacation of my life. So anyway, I bust my ass for 3 months, get the pass, and
wait, you got the pass the same year you created it?
Yes.
You launched in March.
Yes.
E3 being in June, like you.
I got it.
Wow.
I did it.
Yeah, it's a very short deadline.
And there's all kinds of stories on how it was easier then too, because there wasn't a lot of like Twitter, YouTube. People went to blogs. Blogs were the thing. If you had a blog that was trending on Technorati, which doesn't even exist anymore, you had a pretty good shot. It was a smaller, less corporate internet, if you will, before all this consolidation. So yeah, I went and having a marketing background, I said, well, you know, I'm never gonna see all of these video game fans and all these contacts ever again. I have to have some sort of contest or booth or something on the site. So again, I email my press contact, and she's like, well, an 8x10 space with a table on it and no internet connection starts at about 10 grand. 10 grand, $10,000. I said, okay, let me get back to you on that. So I was like, how am I going to come up with 10 grand? I can't. So I didn't have an answer for that one. So I decided that I was going to give away a video card, which was pulled from my system because I didn't have any money at the time. So I repackaged my GTFX or whatever it was. It had like a big bulldog on the cover that I had just bought to SLI Half-Life or something, which was my favorite game of that year, Half-Life 2. And I was going to give away this video card. And since I couldn't afford a booth, I knew that people would dress up for comic book conventions, and I thought this was a completely normal thing. I made a robot helmet so that people in the hallway could pay attention to me, and I would give them a flyer that said, please come visit my blog, and you can maybe win this video card.
So this is how Mr. Destructoid was born.
That's right.
And did you have him in the logo at this point? Or
yeah. Well, yeah, I thought Destructoid kind of sounded like a robot, so I drew a little robot guy. Based on my love of all things Japanese. There's an old toy called the Smoking Robot, which has a resemblance, but he has a crest and, okay, different story. So I make this giant robot head out of air conditioner parts. I went to Home Depot. The cups from the robot helmet are actually measuring cups from my kitchen.
Wow.
And the mouth was an air conditioner grill and vents, and the eyeballs were from the auto parts store.
Wow.
They were just reflectors.
How heavy was this thing?
It was light but deadly. It was, well, I just cut the metal with the scissors.
Oh, geez. And you had that around your neck?
Yeah, and it shredded so if you notice, like, photos from the first year, like, my shirt is all cut. It's all shredded because the aluminum was, like, actually shaving my shoulders.
Wow.
So anyway, so long story short, I make this stupid robot helmet to give away my video card. And I didn't know that you don't go to the ESA press conferences in costume, because everyone's wearing their damn fancy sports jacket, and they got their journalist look, right, with their satchels and whatnot, and their little recorders. I walk in there in a robot helmet, and they're all pressed, so they all got cameras, and they're all shooting pictures at me. And the guy that ran a site called Game Politics or something wrote this super scathing article on how Destructoid was like, what's wrong with the video game press? Like, look at these goons coming in here with their costumes, and I did have a tiny readership at the time, and my guys were just like, well, you're what's wrong with the gaming industry. You're taking this so seriously. Like, this is not life and death. This is
video games. It's
video games. It's supposed to be fun and funny and goofy, and we're all here to laugh, and this is entertainment. So
pause you for a second. Sean, haven't you been saying this for the last as long as the show's been online?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so you and I, we're here. So that's Destructoid. So we suddenly became like the antithesis of old school journalism. We were, so we're not like super polished, and the site was, kind of run in a very loose format, but man, we did it for fun. We did it for community. So as the site grew, I started hiring people from our forums, and they became the writers. And as we got busier and busier, I realized, wow, I think I'm one of the people that should be behind the scenes, kind of running this, well, so these guys can focus more on content, and I can I can, keep the servers online, which is still a challenge to this day. So I started hiring people from the forums. I started building out the software and building out the team. And man, and the site, it's been 12 years, and for the most part, that's still how I run the site. And I'm still in there answering all the customer support emails and rebooting the servers and, trying to discover people within the community and promote community blogs to our front page. That's still Destructoid. It hasn't changed really all that much. We've tried to adapt to YouTube and Twitter, and we're still trying to figure all that out. But yeah, that's my gaming blog. That's what I do.
So I have to ask, you put so much energy into these 3-4 months to go to this video game event, to go to E3.
Yes.
Like, that is crazy passion. I would have probably given up. I wouldn't have made a costume. I would have made my own site. How did it feel to go through those doors and see all of the lights, the spectacle that is E3?
It was actually really frustrating because I had absolutely zero clue what was going on. I didn't even know that there was like off-site press conferences, and I was just, it was like Clueless Gamer. It was like,
so you showed up there with your helmet on.
No.
Okay.
By the way, you can't see a damn thing with the helmet on. Helmet on was for effect and for photo ops and whatever. Yeah, I mean, I ran around and I didn't get to play much. The lines were crazy long, and I didn't know that I had to make appointments ahead of time. I had no idea what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I had so much fun doing it. I stayed up all night video editing and getting all this stuff before. We had a team. I did everything, and I enjoyed it so much. And I would just every moment I had, I would just go back and try to reply to every single comment, which is something we can't do anymore. Which the site gets 80,000 comments a month.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the most active communities in gaming.
It's insane. It's intense. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my story.
Great. And now, I'm sorry, I just want to keep plugging stuff here. But now, Destructoid today is now an official judge at E3 too, right?
Yeah, we became a E3 judge, I want to say in 2008.
So it only took you 2 years to go from this, like...
We were, we were right place, right time.
Right.
At the time, we were compared to Kotaku and Joystick a lot. And those guys started 2 years before us. So, props to them for kind of laying the groundwork for the bloggers to come in and take over. So gaming media realize, as they're realizing now with Twitch streamers and YouTubers, the audiences are going to the blogs because they're more authentic and they're more accessible, and they're just more fun. So if they wanted to stay relevant, they had to open up and work with the blogs. So. Mm-hmm. Right place, right time. And of course, we had the readership, and we can prove the numbers.
That's good. Yeah, that's great. Did you have anything to ask Niero, Sean?
Questions, comments? What's up?
No, it's a fascinating story, and I could sort of relate to the startup process to making the jump because of things I have going on behind the scenes right now. So. It is inspiring. Good shit.
Mm-hmm. Goes to show you that humble beginnings can take you.
Man, follow your passions. Don't let people tell you where you can and can't go.
So you joked about having to sell your house and car. So guys, by the way, we're going to be starting the lightning round right after this story. So get your, if you have any questions, topics, comments on anything we talked about tonight, if you want to share your thoughts on whether Mario or Zelda is the better game that came out this year, or if you have questions for Niero, he won't be around on the next show anyways. Might come back for another one. So while we have him here, if you have any questions for him, please ask away. So Niero, what's this story about you having to remortgage your house and all that?
Okay, so so when I started Destructoid, I thought, okay, I'm going to do this for maybe 3 months, whatever. I don't need to fund this forever, so I can just take it out of my savings and all this travel and all this equipment and everything I need. And I had just gotten into an apartment that the apartment had something weird with the building was doing like a concrete special assessment and all that, and I was like, I hate living here. I want to do this full time. I'm going to need a lot more money to continue doing this. I want to quit my job and I just need a runway. And if I can continue growing at the rate that I'm growing, I think I can make this my job. And if not, worst case, I can always go back and get another job. You know, I still have that web designer skill set. I felt like it's now or never, dude. Like, either go for it or be on your deathbed, kind of wishing, you know, what if, you know, I didn't really have anything to lose, really. I was either gonna regret it for the rest of my life or go for it. So it seemed like obvious thing to do was just try. And then I was scared shitless, and I just had to keep. And you see how I am on Saturdays. I don't let go of the laptop. I'm always
this guy. I was trying to get him to play Mario all Saturday. I'm playing Mario on the big screen. I'm like, I'm gonna spoil stuff for you, man. You gotta play. He's just working.
And I turned away from the TV because I don't want to see everything. So I'd look every once in a while, and you know, I got my Saturday work done, and then I was able to pick up the game.
Because I'd be like, oh, and I'm like, oh, don't look, it's a spoiler. So we got some questions. Sean's going to be feeding them to you.
That's a very interesting story you tell because of parallels.
Sean's about to undertake quite a story of his own.
Which question for Niero? Which of the following third-party supported game is going to sell on the Switch next month? I assume he means which one will probably sell the best out of the 4: Doom, Skyrim, Sonic Forces, or LA Noire.
Ooh. Let's see. I'm gonna go with Skyrim. Just because I think that's going to have a high attach rate to the people that enjoyed Breath of the Wild. Doom is incredible. Well, actually, you know, there's not a whole lot of like mind-blowing first-person shooters on the Switch.
I had a conversation last night on a podcast about this, and it came down to pretty much Doom or Skyrim. And really, honestly, I think it's a toss-up because Skyrim, you know, you have Breath of the Wild, so people have that open world aspect. There's not shit for first-person shooters.
Yep. So, yeah, I think first-person shooter fans will pick up Doom, which is an excellent, excellent game.
Sean, have you had time to play Friday the 13th with the new updates? Not yet, but I definitely want to. If I didn't have to film after this, I probably would. I don't know. Maybe I'll take the night off. Question 2 for Niero. What was your favorite video game of all time?
Growing up, my favorite video game of all time was Mega Man 2. I think it's one of the most perfect retro games ever. You've seen me maybe at the office. I'll just put on the music.
It was playing at
Yeah, I love the soundtrack.
This guy hooked up video game music. He bought us a Google Home Mini for the office.
Yes.
And because Enthusiast Gaming and Destructoid are like this now. So anyways, he got us a Google Mini in the office. I walk in. There's no one in the office, and he wrote on the fridge with an arrow pointing to the Google Mini. He's like, just say, hey, Google, play video game music on the TV. And, like, this guy, like, in the night just put video game music. Like, I can voice command video game music in the office, which is amazing. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I want the EG office to be as cool as possible so people want to spend more time there.
Right.
Yeah. It's also more comfortable for me because it's like a home away from home now.
Yeah.
Question for Niero. What system do you prefer to play games on? I guess your platform of choice.
Right now, I'm playing mostly on my PS4 Pro. Just because my backlog is insane, but I always throw the Switch in my bag. I play it every chance I get. So between those two. And then I have an Xbox One S at my parents' home that I've been playing Cuphead on.
I don't know if you want to answer this or not. Feel free to just say no comment. Why did that Destructoid show with Max Scoville end? Scoville.
Oh no, that's a good question. That show was actually produced by Revision 3. Revision 3 was acquired by the Discovery Network, the Discovery Channel. So it wasn't ours to continue. We tried to kind of recoup the Destructoid channel. At least we got our channel back, which was an interesting story in itself. But it wasn't our show. It wasn't our studio. It was a partner production. Max is over at IGN now. He's doing really, really great. You guys should watch him on IGN.
But there's new stuff on Destructoid now for people to check out.
That's right. We have the pre-game discharge, youtube.com/Detoid. It's an amazing new show. Lyle is a handsome, destructive bastard, and he's really funny. I think he's one of the funniest people on YouTube. I highly recommend just give it a shot.
And there's going to be more shows on the way, so if you haven't already subscribed to the Destructoid channel, please do so. Helps Niero, helps us, helps everybody.
Hey guys, now that we've busted our Mario and Zelda nuts, will Nintendo be able to satisfy our lust for butt cheeks? I guess saying that since we got Mario and Zelda in 2017, you know, because they've been kind of quiet about 2018. You know, there's been a Kirby and a Yoshi, and people are kind of like, oh, you know, there's nothing in 2018, which I don't think it's well, Metroid's not confirmed for 2018. I mean, you could also say there's the potential for Pokemon. I think you're going to see some interesting shit from Nintendo. I think you're going to see some second-party games.
Sean light his chest on fire.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, this is on a show a while back. Sean, here's the replay. So there's the chest hair.
How did you figure this out, Sean? What?
Boredom.
Yeah, it stays. It stays too. Anyways, sorry, keep going.
That's amazing.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, you're my hero, dude. It's great.
Question for Niero. Was Mr. Destructoid's personality solely developed by you, or was it developed by the community?
Oh man, that's a good question. So Mr. Destructoid, the character is mute. He doesn't say anything. And I wanted to keep it that way so that when we lend a helmet to somebody, they can just kind of, you know, be possessed and, you know, continue the character.
Speaking of which, I was possessed Friday. I was Mr. Destructoid for a day.
Doesn't it just make you be like wild and silly?
I felt so much cooler. I felt like I could do anything.
It has like a magical effect on people. No, it just kind of made sense. You know, I never built like a robot body or hands or anything. So I definitely wanted people to feel like, okay, there's a human in there, and he's just being a silly bastard. So, and I'm super casual. I just it's an extension of me. Maybe it's an alter ego. Maybe I want to be cool and like free spirited like that, but I'm pretty low key. Helmet off. I don't know. It was just kind of naturally worked out that way, I guess.
By the way, that question was from our artist who does our class versus class.
Okay.
I think it was Anthony.
Yeah, I do want to say that Mr. Destructoid's less and less fit year by year. He used to be a lot more like healthy looking. So we've been hiring interns to do the character since
we need more fit.
I'm pushing 40, man. I can't do that anymore.
Final question. Do you think the Xbox One X, a true 4K platform, is going to outsell the Switch and PS4 Pro? So basically, I guess, do you think that, I guess it's for you, because everyone knows my opinions on it. Do you think that the 4K revolution is here and that the Xbox One X is going to do well?
No, I think it's more of a response to the PS4 Pro, and I think it's a reaction and experiment to the long console life cycle of the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I think they're just trying to figure out a way to, you know, not do that again. But it's too late. Like that console should have come out, you know, 3 or 4 years ago, and I know that they couldn't have done it because of the price, but you know, knowing what little I know about the pre-sales, knowing what I know about how they're doing internationally, and looking at their lineup of exclusives, no, I don't think it's going to. I mean, it's going to sell, but I don't think it's going to be like a major thing, or at least I can't find a data point that indicates that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing of it is, I mean, even when it was unveiled, I specifically remember Phil Spencer saying that it's going to be, you know, sort of its own thing. Just, you know, the Xbox One S will be what continues to drive units, not the X. So at that point, I'm like, well, why the fuck even make it? Because, you know, you lack exclusives. Like where what are your exclusives coming up now that, you know, Cuphead has released, which is rumored to go multi-plat at some point. You know, Crackdown, is Crackdown 3 gonna, like, from what we've seen of Crackdown 3, it looks like Crackdown 2, which isn't going to sell people who don't like the Crackdown formula, people like me. So I don't know. We were talking about it last night on another podcast. You know, is Microsoft going to take the NPD for November? I just don't think they will. Like, there's no real reason. Like, even their marketing. I saw a commercial for the Xbox One X, and commercial starts out. It's a picture of the system. It says "True 4K gaming is here." They show a snippet of Forza, of Madden, of Minecraft, because Jesus Christ, do we need Minecraft in 4K? And then it ends on Madden, and then that's it. And it's like, what? You sold me nothing. Like, this is snake oil. What are you doing? Like, this isn't gonna make me go out and, oh shit, I could play Forza slightly upscale. I could play Minecraft in 4K. Let me just chop off my leg and sell my semen. Like, I don't get it.
Nero got to play some Forza in 4K Friday.
It's gorgeous, but it's also, I mean, I'm in front of a setup. It's a you have a Dolby Atmos you know, surround sound system. You have the highest end Samsung TV that you can own. You know, for the hi-fi enthusiast, yes, they're going to buy the Xbox One X just because they have stupid money that they don't know what to do with. For the average person, I mean, the Xbox One S looks great as it is, and it has the same lineup. That system isn't lacking power. I mean, it's content. You need content. I wish Microsoft would have done like a really interesting Xbox tablet or something that I can take with me, because I already have an Xbox One S. Like, I don't need to upgrade. I think you know, something like a really high-end gaming tablet, which, you know, Razer will come out with or somebody else will do it, would have been more interesting and have, you know, must-have exclusives for that device. But I don't think Microsoft really has a good strategy for mobile. I would have gone that route instead of the Xbox One S. I don't really understand where they're going with it. That said, it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. Track down somebody with a lot of money and check it out. It's great.
Or, yeah, all of our Xbox enthusiast writers are all getting one.
Okay.
They're the crowd that you know, this market appeals to.
Yeah, there you go.
I just like when I saw Microsoft's E3 this past year, it made me want the S, not the X. Like, I was like, oh damn, I'll be able to play, you know, original Xbox and Xbox 360 games on this now. That's pretty cool. I haven't checked out, because I just recently got an Xbox One. I've had a PS4 since pretty close to launch, and a Switch.
From a fan.
Okay, Jesus Christ. I was going to buy one eventually, but yes, that did help speed up the process.
He begs
God,
his
I forgot my
fans
train of
for free
thought.
stuff,
Well, I mean,
and they send him stuff.
I do not. I have a show where if you send me something, I open it.
What's in the box?
The other thing
What's
I
in
wanted
the
to say.
box?
The other thing I wanted to say was, you know, the PC gamer that bought the 700 series, you know, NVIDIA cards that upgraded to the 10 series, like, they're good. Like, they're not going to need another 4K thing. So you have the PS4 Pro, you have the 10 series video cards, and then now finally we're getting the 4K Xbox, which has the same. I mean, too late. It's too late. They should have done it a long time ago.
But it's for those who don't want to dabble with their PCs. It's the console market. They want it to go out and tout the most powerful console, and yes, it is. Will that market actually? Will that like marketing power actually have any influence over sales? Because I don't think so. Because I've heard, you know, you go to EB Games / GameStop, and I heard people walk in and they're like, oh, what about this console? And they're like, no, man, you want the PS4. That's the most powerful. Like, that's the conversation. It wasn't what games are here. It's like, no, that's the most powerful. That's the one you want. So I can see Xbox trying to appease that audience, but I cannot believe that the market is that, like, sorry, but that dumb.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't think it works. I think the 4K hype has died down a lot. There's so many different flavors of 4K. You have the Netflix 4K. You have Blu-ray, true 4K, other 4K, UHD 4K. You know, I don't know. I don't think people care that much anymore about 4K.
I don't think so either.
Right. Do we have any last questions before we wrap up for tonight?
We could go with this one as the last one. What franchises do you want to see Nintendo bring back on the Switch? My answer would be Punch-Out via DLC and ARMS, because it would get me to buy ARMS, and Star Tropics.
How about you, Nero? I never know how to answer this one.
Let me chew on that one for a little bit.
Because I get
And
everything.
And you know what? I want a new Wario game.
Oh, there you
Wario
go.
games are super underappreciated. Wario on the Virtual Boy was amazing. Wario Land Shake It on the Wii, very criminally underrated title on the Wii. I love Wario games. I love his whole demeanor because he's a douchebag, sort of like me. And I want more. I would love a new Wario game. Maybe you know how they do Super Mario Brothers. Do something with Wario and Waluigi,
Yes.
like where they're trying to fuck with Mario and Luigi. Like
Yes.
that would be so awesome.
Yes.
And they're open. I mean, obviously they're open more. You don't even have to Nintendo doesn't even have to make the game. They can outsource it to another company like they did with Rabbids and Ubisoft. Like I think it would be actually more fun to have another company take that game and do something with it, because it would have a fresh perspective of it. Because I think Waluigi and Wario are two very interesting characters who have never really been fleshed out enough. And
Absolutely.
Waluigi #1.
Yeah. That would be great.
All right, I'm done.
That would be great. And you made me think of another one. But I think I forgot it. Did I forget it? I did.
I want a new Faxanadu.
What?
It's like the original. It's like the original Skyrim.
Oh.
It's like a terrible NES game that I'm very fond of.
It's not terrible. It's decent.
It's really good.
decent.
Not a Nintendo IP, but I would like to see a return of Earthworm Jim.
Oh yeah, we were just jamming that in the kitchen.
Yeah. Nero was blasting it with some. You don't like Earthworm Jim?
I love Earthworm Jim, but they tried that on the N64 with Earthworm Jim 3D, and it was
Okay, but like they stewed on it 20 years. Let's try again and let's do it right.
They also had Earthworm Jim HD on
That's true.
the I think it was on the Xbox Live Arcade on the 360.
I would love a remaster of Super Mystical Ninja, which is on the Super Famicom, but not on the Nintendo Mini Classic or Classic Mini. Or
It's on the Famicom. maybe?
Super Nintendo Classic. God, I hate the naming scheme of that. Yeah, the Japanese version has Goemon, which came over as Mystical Ninja on the Super Nintendo.
I think I own that game. I think somebody sent me the Super Famicom version of it.
Like that game was so ahead of its time. Like in the third level, you can play Gradius in the game. It's great. It just has all these like tiny little mini games, and soundtrack is great. It's a classic golden era Konami game. I really enjoyed it.
Sidebar: there's just been some news announced.
Oh,
Well,
what?
it's not really announced, but it's pretty much implied. We all know that limited run games are bringing games to the Nintendo Switch. In a recent interview that just happened, it looks like they were asked if they could talk about the first game that they will be bringing. They said it seemed like it was a pipe dream, but instead it's a hole-in-one. So more than likely that game is Golf Story, which is cool because I have not bought that yet, and I will gladly buy it physical.
Very cool.
I've heard good things.
All right.
Same.
And we're going to wrap it up there for all that. Here's a note. A Bowser game would be nice. And we're just going to leave it at that. So I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Nero, for jumping on this podcast with us, sharing your wonderful origin story. It'd be nice to have you back for some other little side stories, because in 12 years, I'm sure you've been through a ton of stuff. Some things I know, some things I don't.
Can't talk about the good stuff.
No? We'll have to wait till someday. Someday I'll convince you to talk about it. But yeah, thanks again for joining. In terms of Nintendo enthusiasts, I don't think we really have anything planned for this week that I know of coming down the pipe. How about on Destructoid? On Destructoid, like we said earlier, there's the pregame discharge, which comes out every Thursday, which is a very it's a news show in 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, with a lot of narcissism and sarcasm.
Highly quotable, inappropriate things that you can repeat at the family dinner table.
Yeah, there you go. So check that out on Destructoid. Over on RGT85, what do we got?
Oh man, I have a what's in the box film that I need to edit. I have 3 Nintendo Switch accessories that I was sent that I need to review. I have another controller coming in that I need to review. I have a hardware pushers for a Patreon that I need to work on. And my lady friend is coming into town, and I'm going to try to get her to stream because men like women, and maybe they'll donate money, and then I can just keep it.
When Sean and I started, he tried to bring a stripper on the show to get more views than me.
Was it effective?
It worked.
It did work, actually.
Okay, great.
It did work.
Except for the next video I put out.
Those growth hacks, man.
Just, yeah.
Try
It was a one spike, and if you looked at the audience retention, it spiked when she came up on camera, and then went away. The audience didn't even stick around to look at his face. Over on Hey Jay, I really want to bring out the first episode of the N64's Top 64 games. I have the games listed out. I just have to script it, edit it. As soon as I have a free weekend, I've been hanging out with Niero all weekend, drinking and having some fun, playing Mario. So that's why I didn't do it.
Soda.
Yeah, soda, that's what we had, yeah. So we're going to be on Hey Jay. It's probably going to be another week or two before I put out one of those videos. But thanks again for joining, everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, keep it classy, Rashawn would say.
Keep it classy.
Or as Niero would say, it's your team.
Oi! Which is really rude in Japanese. As we say, also Cox, and thank you for tuning in.
Did you say also Cox?
That's right.
Like the, okay. See you next week. Oh, this is where we sing. Do you like to sing?
We're singing?
So it's an outro. Usually I have Sean sing, but if you like to sing.
Whoa! I can't sing.
Okay, so Sean, sing us off. How about the Mega Man 2 theme? Wally's theme.
Da-da-da-da-da. Is this like a... What's that dude that does like the 8 voices?
Sure, but it like much closer.
Smooth McGrew.
Oh, that guy's amazing.
But this is like the garbage version.
Okay.
Come on, where are my backups?
I'm the high notes guy.
Come on, Sean, where are you?
He's like, you guys are lame. He's like,